invocation will be given by Pastor Thad Berry, Calvary Baptist Church.
Yes, ma'am.
Shall we pray? Heavenly Father and great Creator of all that we see, we come into your presence and we are thankful. Thankful for the day, thankful for the sun, thankful for the rain, thankful for heat tonight. Lord, we thank you, most importantly, for dying on the cross to save us from our sins. And I pray that you would give our city wisdom, and these men and women who serve faithfully, wisdom from you. And that we would have a desire to serve you, because we want your kingdom to come. We want your will to be accomplished. And I pray, Lord, that you would help our city to continue to be a city where we love one another, where we respect one another, and ultimately where we love and serve and worship you. And so, Lord, I pray that you would help this meeting to go well tonight and in a way that would honor and please you. In Jesus' name I pray these things. Amen.
Okay, so remain standing for the pledge to be given by Girl Scout Troop 16903.
Good afternoon. Is there any amendment again today?
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda. We have 7 youth council swearing in instead of the 5 listed. We would like to add Victoria Schutte, and Cameron's also to that list.
I'll second.
All in favor? Thank you. Presentation of approval of the city council minutes. I call for a motion for a regular session meeting minutes held on October 8, 2019.
Make a motion to approve the October 8, 2019 minutes.
Call for a second.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor? 5-0. I call for a motion for a special call meeting as of October 8, 2019.
Mayor Pro Tem, I make a motion to approve the special call meeting minutes held on 8th October 2019.
Second.
Any discussion?
This was the 6 o'clock meeting.
Second, yes.
All in favor? 5-0. Call for a special call meeting as of October 15, 2019 at 6 p.m. Adopting the budget.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve the special call meeting minutes for the meeting held on the 15th of October 2019 at 6 o'clock to adopt the budget.
Second? Minority. Any discussion? All in favor? 5-0. Call for a vote for a special call meeting as of October 15 at 6 p.m.
Make a motion to approve the special call minutes for October 16, 2019 at 6:15.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor? All 5-0. Any acknowledgement of the guests. If any guests here, please rise.
All right. He's there too.
All right.
We're gonna take A of
A.
it.
Proclamation of resolution of slot, ask Councilman Bodie to, make the comment. And Mr. and Mrs. Wells, please come forward.
So, anyone that doesn't know, this is Mr. and Mrs. Willie and Donna Wall. They've been involved in Hampton a long time, and the Hampton Business Merchants Association, every year, they pronounce us Mr. and Mrs. Hampton. So I'm gonna read you what this proclamation says. Whereas the Hampton Business and Merchants Association annually elects a Mr. and Mrs. Hampton, whereas the Hampton Business and Merchants Association elected Willie and Donna Walls as the 2019 Mr. and Mrs. Hampton. Whereas as children, both Willie and Donna's family located in Hampton in 1938, where Willie and Donna were raised and attended Hampton Elementary School together. Whereas Willie and Donna married in 1979 at the First Baptist Church of Hampton. Whereas currently Donna serves as Secretary Treasurer of the Hampton Business and Merchants Association and Secretary of the Henry County Council of Aging. Whereas Willie retired in 2010 after dutifully serving as a Henry County firefighter for 30 years. Whereas Willie offered himself for public service office and faithfully served on the Hampton City Council for 4 years, 2011 to 2015. Whereas Willie is a NASCAR fan, he has been on the board of directors for Raceway Ministries for 8 years and volunteers during NASCAR auto race at Atlanta Motor Speedway and volunteers for the drag races. Whereas Willie and Donna are longtime members of Liberty Hill Baptist Church, where they are active members of the Faith Riders class. Whereas Willie, an avid music buff, loves to entertain with fellow musician friends in a bluegrass band, performing throughout the community on his mandolin. Whereas Donna volunteers for the annual Hampton Bear Creek Festival, Yellow Pollen Festival, and City of Hampton's Cookies with Mrs. Claus. She also enjoys making weekly visits to the Bear Creek Senior Center. Whereas Willie and Donna are loved and respected not only by their son, daughter, grandchildren, and great-grands, but by their extended Hampton family of elected officials, community, neighbors, and friends. Now therefore, on behalf of Mayor Hutchison, by virtue of the authority vested in me to do, hereby acknowledge and honor the Walls for many years of volunteer service to the city of Hampton, I urge my fellow citizens to volunteer in one of our many local community events organizations. By both volunteering and recognizing those who serve, we can come together as a community to make a difference.
Mrs. Wall, you want to make any comment? Okay, let's go forward. Swearing of the youth council members by our own attorney.
All right, so I'm gonna call them up. So first we have Leela Barton. She is a returning member in 12th grade. She's also a member of Beta Club, and she's also our newest intern here at City Hall. Next we have Caleb Seehafer. He is a returning member. Caleb's in 10th grade. He's also a part of Youth Leadership Henry and Student Government. Lauren Lewis is a new member. She's in 9th grade. She's part of Jack and Jill America and the Hampton High School cheer team. Kennedy Lewis is a new member. She's in 12th grade. She's also a member of Beta Club, National Honor Society, and cheerleading. Alexis Mann is a new member. She's in 10th grade. She's been a member of HOSA, Beta Club, and the volleyball team. Cameron Nalta is a new member. Cameron's in 12th grade. He's part of National Honor Society, NAHS, and captain of the soccer team at Hampton High School. And Victoria Schutte, she's a new member in 10th grade. She's been a member of, she's in National Honor Society, National Arts, NAHS, SBLA, and she also works at American Cookies.
I certainly will. All right, so I need all of you to raise your right hand, please. And then you'll repeat after me, and you'll say your name after I, okay? I, and I'll say your name. As a member of the City of Hampton Youth Council, pledge to represent the interests of all citizens of the City of Hampton, represent the interests of all citizens of the City of Hampton, not use my service on this youth council for my own personal advantage or for the individual advantage of my friends or supporters. Approach all youth council issues with an open mind and prepare to make the best decision for the whole city. Do more. Do nothing to violate the trust of those who appointed me to the youth council or those we serve. Focus my efforts on the mission of the youth council and not my personal goals. All right, last one. Never exercise authority as a youth council member except when acting in a meeting with the full youth council or as I am delegated by the youth council and or youth council advisor. Congratulations. And then I need each of you to sign this before you leave, okay? All right. Are y'all coming down?
Y'all wanna come down? Come down here.
Aren't y'all relieved? That was more complicated than getting sworn in as president. Hold on, one more time. Hold on.
Y'all stay
Hold on.
close.
And the principal. Principal? The principal?
Mr. Gore, is it Mr. Gore?
I was running in the back.
We're trying to help you out with your writing.
Thank you. Great, thank you.
I just wanted to say, I am very, very proud of this new group of youth council members that we have. I personally want to thank Mr. Gord, at Hampton High School. This youth council could not have survived without him. He has really stepped up as the principal, and I wanted his superintendent to know that. Thank you.
Public comment, do you have anyone?
Mayor Pro Tem, members of council, we have 3 individuals that have signed up for public comment, meaning that they each can have the 3 or whatever you so desire. The first one is Michael Rockholt. Here to speak about ordinance 497, 498, 499.
Okay.
Good evening. I want to congratulate our new Mr. and Mrs. Hampton, and the returning, and the new youth council members. Congratulations. On tonight's agenda, item D, ordinance 497. Can I please get an explanation of what the 2 terms, on system and off system, mean, and the difference between them? And am I correct in assuming that these listed areas are the only street segments where detection devices can be utilized within the city limits of county? Also, I also strongly support ordinances 498 and 499. Returning to a meaningful opportunity for public comment is long overdue. I'm certain these changes, if adopted, will be very well received by a lot of folks. I do think that in the amendment to section 235 could also go a little bit further. Maybe a synopsis of the ordinance, instead of just being available at the council meeting, could be included as a part on the agenda sheet that is published along with the agenda. Also, there's an item that refers to an item being referred to committee. Could that possibly change to allow any council member, the mayor, or possibly even the city department heads to request an item to be transferred to committee for further study? Of course, this is subject to council approval. Moving on to a lighter note, took out our little farmer's market. Was not a booming success, but what we had was great, and we can look forward to a bigger and better next year, I hope. We want to thank our mayor for that. Also, I want to thank the council members who came forward to serve but were not elected. It takes a whole lot for these folks to step out and run. They certainly deserve our appreciation. Thank you.
Next, we have Sherry Cheney here to speak about open records request.
Good evening. I'm here tonight to speak on open records request. For the record, I requested open records on September the 30th, 2019 on all of the 22 financial accounts for the city. I received a few emails stating that the city was anticipating on providing these open records for us on various dates. And that word anticipating meaning that they're working on it, I may receive it, but I haven't received anything as of tonight. So tonight, I sent an email to the city clerk, Melissa Brooks, Alex Cohilis, Ms. Fairley, and I think Ms. Atwater is on the email also. And the email states that this email is in reference to the open records request on September the 30th, 2019. The request for the City of Hampton financial records for 22 accounts, it was for the 22 accounts. And if reasonable measures have been taken by the City of Hampton clerk to redact the records to protect security and confidentiality, why haven't the open records request been fulfilled? The citizens of Hampton, Georgia deserve the right to know who is responsible for spending their money. The City of Hampton is not willing to comply with the open record request dated September 30th, 2019. Due to the prolonged efforts to gain access to the financial documents requested, we will contact the Georgia Attorney General's office to support us in gaining access to these records. The citizens of Hampton, Georgia should have full access to documents held by local government. The citizens need transparency and accountability. At 5:51 today, I received an email from Melissa Brooks and Alex Cohilis, and Ms. Fairley is on the email. And the email stated that if the records were here and the city had access to the records, then you would provide the records to us. So the question is, why don't we have access to these records from the bank? Is there an issue with receiving the records from the bank? Is there an issue with redacting the records? Because we did receive an email last week stating that the records were being redacted. Thank you. I guess my time is up. Thank you.
Next, we have Arlie Lowe. She's here to speak about ordinance 498.
Got that.
Long drive.
Well worth it. Just for everybody's information, if you ever have the opportunity or create the opportunity, go to New Orleans and go to the World War II, National World War II Museum in New Orleans. We spent 2 full days going through it and still didn't see everything there was. There's 4 buildings. It is a fantastic experience. And if you don't come out of there bleeding red, white, and blue, then there's something wrong with you. Yeah, in reference to ordinance number 498, I appreciate the effort.
Maybe take a name, address.
Arlie Lowe, 171 Lake Hampton Drive. Didn't have to have anybody else, but I'll give it to you anyway. Yeah, the ordinance number 498, I appreciate the effort to loosen up the time frames in the public comment section. However, it doesn't go quite far enough in my estimation. There is still no provision for citizen input on items that are put on the agenda after the public comment. And if we look back, you realize that this happens at almost every meeting. There is an amendment to the agenda with an item that's after the public comment. Consequently, there's no opportunity for the citizens to have any input on that particular agenda item or those items. So please, take a look at it, maybe consider an amendment, change it, give us our voice back. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, I have none others that have signed up.
Okay. This was old business. Is it new business or update in Henrytown School.
Mayor Pro Tem and Council, I'd like to introduce Ms. Mary Elizabeth Davis, Superintendent of Schools in Henry County. She's here to give us an update on all things educational, and the mayor had asked her to come, and it's important for us to know, because I think it helps informs us from an economic development standpoint and a smart growth standpoint, not only about the accomplishments of our students who will be the workers of tomorrow, and their accomplishments go to our ability to advertise to businesses that want to come and locate on this side of the county, so they understand the quality of the future workforce that will be available to them. But it will also inform our decisions regarding growth. So issues about we don't want to overtax school capacity, we want to be able to grow at a rate that is in concert with the school's capacity to provide education. So without any further ado, please welcome Ms. Davis.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, members of the City Council, and the Hampton City staff, thank you so much for the opportunity to be with you this afternoon. I happen to be joined by an exceptional team of professionals, and I'd love to take a moment to introduce them. With me tonight is the principal of Hampton Elementary School, Brian Kiefer, probably no stranger to you here in the room. Our newest rookie principal to the team is Mr. Andy Pike, the principal of Mount Carmel Elementary School. And we also have Principal Ms. Sonia Ayanaga, and the future principal of Rocky Creek Elementary School here with us today as well. Of course, you are likely already know our principal of Hampton Middle School, Purvis Jackson, who is here today, and Mr. Martin Gore, the principal of Hampton High School, who's already stolen all the accolades. Also here tonight is Dr. Greg Benton, and he is our Assistant Superintendent for Systems Improvement, and also Mr. Kirk Schrum, who is our Chief School Leadership Officer. Collectively, we value the role of city officials, and we are proud to be your partners in providing a quality public education. Tonight's going to be a great opportunity for an update. I'm available for any discussion. I'll call on them for anything I don't know. And I will just acknowledge at the start of this conversation that each of these members of our leadership team have had several evening obligations conflicting, not only tonight but all week, and so please excuse us if we do begin to step out at the conclusion of our time together. So I'm going to go ahead and advance. I'm going to first start by saying that the Board of Education in Henry County Schools, represented before you, is on an ambitious pursuit. To be the highest achieving and fastest improving school district in the Metro Atlanta region, but being known for our connectivity to children, our connectivity to families, our connectivity to the community, part of this conversation tonight, and our belief in the capability of every single child. I see we already advanced to an image of the Board of Education, but this board has operated in great unity in recent months and has actually designed a governance framework that has articulated the focus for our organization, and I think it's worth pausing to expose our conversation to that governance framework. In this governance framework, we have a Board of Education who has grappled with what are our core and shared beliefs and commitments about the role public education plays in our community. The core beliefs and commitments start with a belief that every child can and will learn at or above grade level in a Henry County school. It's followed by a commitment that families are an extension of the success a student has in education. The third is a belief that all learning environments should be supportive, safe, and secure. And finally, a core belief around teachers, employees, and school leaders producing exceptional results on behalf of the community that entrusts their children in their care. Those core beliefs have begun to cascade through the entire organization in order to provide alignment for every corner of this community, in every classroom, in every school. And that alignment has really been driven by what we call the plan of action. This is the work boards do to develop policies that will stabilize and set the course for structures in the future. And that plan of action has really been the impetus for so much performance gains that you will see in a couple of moments. We're in the process of now, launching into the strategic planning phase, so that the Board of Education, by the conclusion of this school year, will have a 5-year strategic plan in place. And right now, we're in a community survey phase. So if you've not yet received that survey to complete, we'll make sure we get that to you later this week, so you can too be a part of voicing your beliefs in what our schools should be providing in the future. So let's move forward, because we are held accountable as a public school system through public accountability measures. And you're going to see a real key to my conversation tonight is how we are responding to the public accountability for student performance and school quality, as well as our public accountability to public funds. And of course, I want to start by just showcasing the tremendous gains that you are seeing here in Henry County Schools in this recent year. On the screen, what you see is the state accountability system known as the CCRPI, the College and Career Readiness Performance Index. If you call yourself a public school system, you must be held accountable to the public, and this is how we are held accountable in the state of Georgia. Last year as a district, we scored a 66 on that CCRPI metric, and this year we're proud to say an 11.3 increase, landing us at a 77.3. What's also special about each of those other performance metrics, elementary, middle, and high, they all, for the first time in many years, stand to be above the state average at every single level, including the district. And that is exceptional news for the community counting on its schools. We're going to take a deeper dive, because I really want you to just kind of see how powerful some growth can be. Not all the metrics, not all that matters can be caught in these metrics that I'm going to share with you tonight. The value schools play in little lives is far more complex and sophisticated than any one number could ever reveal. But these metrics do matter, and so we know they matter to the community, and we want to talk about them publicly, because this is an indicator of kids learning more than they ever have in Henry County classrooms. You see some bars in front of you. These are last year's bars of performance. I want you to see them compared to this year's, and you see that growth. But more importantly, let's take a look at how that compares to the state. Last year, the state is in that light gray bar, and you go one more, and you see the state in the dark gray bar. As you can see, as a community of schools, we have really jumped in all levels of performance. I want to go ahead and just advance those slides so we can see the actual change in growth, because we talked about being the fastest improving along with the highest achieving. And so look at the growth rate at each level compared to our state average growth. So thank you. Let's go ahead and advance to the next slide. What I really think is exciting to show is that 42 out of our 50 schools showed growth from 2018 to 2019, but 24 showed double-digit growth in the CCRPI metric, and I think that they're listed there on the screen for you. Now, I know we're in Hampton, so we got to take a little deeper dive right here into the city of Hampton, and you can be just so proud of your schools right here in Hampton. In your backyard, Rocky Creek moved from a 62.8 to an 88.2, making them the second highest performing elementary school in the entire Henry County community. Hampton Elementary School made tremendous gains, going from a 63.4 to a 71.1, and Mount Carmel making similar great gains from a 71.4 to a 78.5, putting us above the state average, and this is exciting news for the city of Hampton. Let's go back one slide there. Can't skip middle school and high school. Look at these great gains. We go from a 63 to a 69 in middle school, and from a 66 to a 67 in high school, and we continue to see the right trajectory and the right movement. And what's also exciting that you see here is that the metrics become very complex. So I'm going to go into a little bit more detail into one of those metrics called closing the gap. And when you look deeply into how student groups are performing at each one of the schools in the city of Hampton, you can be so confident that each child is having the opportunity to learn at high levels and is doing so. So let's take a look at where this puts Henry County on the map in the metro region and in the Griffin region. If you start on the left-hand side, you see where we were last year, towards the bottom of those 17 school districts in our region. We now jump to the top of that list and just find ourselves, just about 11 points away from the top of the performers in the Atlanta and Griffin region. You can also see that not only is highest achieving important, but that fastest improving rate with an 11.3 growth rate far outweighs all the other growth rates you see in districts around you. So, a little bit about our performance, and a lot of people want to know how did that happen? And then is it gonna happen this time next year? Which, you know, we're already preparing that presentation. So yes, of course, you can count on us to continue, but, there is a component to the CCRPI calculation called closing the gap. The state of Georgia sets performance targets for each of your student groups. Students served in special education, for example. Students served, in an English language learner program. And so each of those student groups have specific targets set by the state. So let's take a look at how Henry County did on meeting their student target performance. Last year, we're in yellow. Elementary hit a third, this year hit all of their performance targets for student groups. And you can see the same growth along the way. And if you advance, you can just, I think, see the numbers of the, just compare them to the state. This is a really important contributor to the CCRPI because it says that we are really deeply considering the needs, the strengths, and the learning opportunities for every child, and growing every child, their learning performance each and every year. So thank you, Greg. We can go ahead and advance to the next slide. Okay, so I talked to you about how the Board of Education has set this in motion, and I do think it's important to go back to that plan of action. But let's transition this conversation to our public accountability for public funds. I want to start with the General Revenue Fund. And the General Revenue Fund for the school district this year that we are currently in is $407 million. This has grown about $40 million over the past 2 years, and during that time, we've also invested $2.5 million into the reserves to continue to grow those reserves. I know you're going to want to ask me a lot of questions about growth, and so I'm going to start to be able to talk to you about how financially we're preparing to do so. Here's our per pupil expenditure, and we're at about $9,360 per pupil for our expenditures, which puts us sort of right there in the middle of that region of districts that we talked about. And then I often like to lay that next to the performance. What kind of performance are you getting when you have your per pupil expenditure? And so I just shared with you how competitive we're becoming in that field while we're maintaining a pretty reasonable per pupil expenditure. Also, I think it's important to acknowledge that as a central office operation, we remain the lowest in our central office expenditures, and as a matter of fact, 2 years ago decreased our central office expenditures yet again as we reassigned staff, about 79 employees, to school-based positions in that year. So keeping really our general operating expenditures under control in this budget, because as our revenue is growing, of course our expenditures are as well, as we're seeing just nearly 1,000 students join the organization each month. I know you're also interested in our special revenue. We have an eSPLOST program that you're all familiar with. Our eSPLOST 4, the dates actually of collections concluded in December 2018, and this December we will just about wrap up and hit 100% completion on SPLOST 4 project. The last item will be presented to the board this December, and we've already begun the SPLOST 5 collections, but I'm pleased to say that in just 18 months we're 80% complete on that eSPLOST 5 project list. And you can see some of the features there with, we'll look at the pictures of some of the features there. This is McDonough High School, replacement school for Henry County High School, and I think the next slide should be McDonough Middle School, replacement school for Henry County Middle. Of course, you heard probably from the Board of Education last night that we are going to lease a portion of the Henry County Middle facility to serve as a Boys and Girls Club, and so we'll talk more about the future use of that facility. But in the meantime, your eSPLOST dollars at work provided a multi-purpose gym at each one of our high schools, and so this is an image of one of those multi-purpose facilities. We were also able to install turf fields at each of our high schools, and I believe Hampton High Schools is done and even had graduation on it last year, like with 2 seconds to spare, and beautiful field complexes for our athletic teams. And the next slide is our investment in replacing our bus fleet, and I know you see our buses driving through your roads and your neighborhoods, and you're wondering when this bus is coming to a neighborhood near you. But let me first of all, we will have hit about 10% of our bus fleet. We have 320 buses on the road, and we will have replaced 30 by year end in the last 18 months. And on that little green icon, little green bird at the top, tells you that it's a clean fuel bus. We have converted to a propane fueled bus, and so these are air conditioned and clean fueled, and we are putting a growth and replacement plan in place so that all 320 buses will be, over the next 10 years, clean fuel and air conditioned. I know buses, everyone wants to talk about it. And here, you know that in part of the eSPLOST 5 is the Performing Arts Center in the Fairview community. And this is what it looks like today. So no performances today, but we're expecting a ribbon cutting in, late February or early March, so it'll be, just right around the corner for us. Really, I think I'm probably exceeding what I've been asked to talk through, so I'm just gonna wrap up by saying that, we believe that, the partnership that we should have with each of our cities and with our elected officials locally, is profound. It's essential for the health and stability of our communities, and we know our families are counting on us serving you together. I wanna thank you for, giving us the opportunity to be in front of you today, share a little bit of the great news that we're proud of in Henry County Schools, share a little bit about the stories of our team members that we're so proud to work alongside, and to also be available to you as we, plan our futures together. Mayor Pro Tem, this concludes my remarks, but I'm available for any discussion.
Anyone?
I got a question. So, thank you so very much for coming out, giving us this presentation. I am just very pleased with the improvement that the Board of Education has done up underneath your leadership and up underneath the leadership of all of our principals, pushing our teachers to, do above and beyond. And I got an opportunity to meet several of them during this past few months. And one of the things that I wanted to really talk to you guys about was about how are we partnering as far as the school social programs, partnering in the community to get students that may not have opportunities such as the Boys and Girls Club. What on this side, the west side, Hampton, Ryan Creek, all of you guys, what are we doing to actually, capture those children that may be in need of some extra assistance?
Sure, so first I want to start by acknowledging that, students today have a lot of opportunities to plug in your typical extracurricular and your athletic programs. But we also have a cadre of social workers and school psychologists and counselors that are increasingly becoming prominent and present in all of our children's lives. But even a cadre of professionals in those fields to meet the needs of students that may fall a little bit beyond the boundaries of a classroom teacher's capacity, we have now started some partnerships in the community to bring professionals into our schools. We are piloting a program where mental health therapists who work in a private practice are now accepting insurance from our children to provide those services right in our schools. And we are also, we actually have in our community such a healthy portfolio of nonprofit organizations that instead of relying on the families to find those, we are increasingly bringing them together in a collection so that a family can find that through their counselor, their social worker, or their school psychologist.
I have one more question, and the principal may be able to answer this.
Good, and if I don't like it, they definitely.
I was just wondering in regards to capacity. As a city council member, one of the things that we think about when we're talking about growth, and as we know, Henry County is a fast-growing county, so I'm just thinking about capacity for the schools that's servicing the Hampton area. What kind of capacity are they currently at this time?
So I'd love to ask them to anecdotally answer that, and before I turn it over to them, I want to mention that as a district, we are currently facilitating what's called a classroom utilization study. Actually, Dr. Benton is facilitating this study. We've brought an external agency to study all the live birth rates, all the zoning decisions over the past 6 years, as well as all of the construction plans based on those zoning decisions from city councils as well as the county. And that, along with historical data points, we will have a 10-year projection of student enrollment laid next to the instructional capacity of every school. And so we will have a very data-driven answer to that question just around February, because it is really in our responsibility to start preparing pretty aggressively for growth. But in the meantime, we are all living this anecdotal growth, and so I'm happy to ask any of y'all if you want to say anything about your capacity at your school.
I did that right now, we're hovering around between 12-12:30 on our attendance, depending on the week and how it comes. It fluctuates, but we're not at full capacity, but,
What is capacity?
capacity, I think, is around 1450.
So Rocky Creek, we have about 715 right now. I believe our capacity is 850, if I had to guess. We do have some empty classrooms that are not being utilized as classrooms right now, so we're not close to full capacity.
Hampton Middle School is right around 960, and we are one of 4 schools that's a school short school. So we have approximately 100 students traveling to us from around the district, from as far away as Stockbridge and Locust Grove. And so, we're proud to, service those students as well.
What's your capacity?
There are some middle schools that are at 1,200, right now we're at 960, so we do have, space.
So Mount Carmel has 660 on their rolls. I am just kind of getting my feet wet. I am not aware of what the capacity is. I'm walking the building though, we do not have empty classrooms. We are utilizing some of those spaces with multiple, teachers in the room. As far as, hey, these individuals need a place to sit, they need a place to bring students back to. But we do not have all of our classrooms being utilized as classrooms.
Sitting at about 425 right now with capacity for approximately 600 students.
So we don't have any trailers here.
We don't, and as a district, we only have 30 trailers in the entire district compared to the 700 we had about 5 years ago. Well, that was before me, but that was good growth planning that happened, previously.
Okay, I guess first time here, life study. I noticed, or you have anything in plan for students in high school, or SAT, ACT, because I noticed that it's not a push or not information being sent out to the parents, for entrance college.
Yeah, so if I'm understanding your question correctly, it's really about the role we play to promote the ACT and SAT as well as preparation courses along with that. And honestly, I think that part of our strategic planning process that we're in the middle of is gonna reveal a growing sentiment of interest in seeing real, clear promotion for SAT and ACT participation, as well as the preparation that goes along with that. I've had a lot of people ask me a very similar question. And so right now, it is very locally driven. It is what the middle schools and high schools are doing internally through their counseling teams to promote SAT and and the ACT. But all of our students participate in the PSAT as a 10th grader. And then those PSAT results are used with counselors and with teachers and with advisors to start coaching students to make some college-based, college-going decisions. Additionally, the state of Georgia has a law called the Bridge Bill. That Bridge Bill requires every 8th grader to put together a high school into college or post-secondary plan. And so we have, obviously, all of our counselors in the middle school starting to work through that. And then finally, Henry County has been known across the state as a beacon for their college and career academy. We call the Academy for Advanced Studies. Students have the opportunity to participate in dual enrollment. They do that also at Hampton High School, but they can go to the Advanced Academy for some dual enrollment, which means some college credits while in high school. They can also experience career pathways where they actually get an industry certification at the conclusion. And there's great partnership with Southern Crescent Technical College right there on that campus. And much of that can be done at the Hampton High School campus. You don't have to even leave it, but it's even a broader portfolio if you have the ability in your schedule to travel to the academy.
But, as far as, my oldest is getting ready to graduate at Hampton High, and, she started at Hampton Elementary, and she went Hampton Middle and Hampton High, and we've had it's been good. It's been good. She's gonna graduate with about a year's worth of college credits, and we haven't had any trouble with the counselors. The main trouble has been the counselors trying to catch her because she's only in and out of school an hour. She's always at college or work or something, so it's been a good experience for us, but it takes work on everyone's part. And I would like to, the main thing I often wonder is, I'm fortunate I get to stay home most of the time, and most of the principals know me and saw me a lot, but more support and reminders for, I guess, the parents that aren't there as much or can't be, because those are the kids I wonder the most about. But they have so many opportunities if they can just get them all. You guys offer so much. I thank you for that.
You have some of the best schools in Henry County are in Hampton, and you can see Henry County is moving on the map of districts across the region. You're in a great sweet spot, I believe even a little postseason play for the football team. I mean, this is an exciting time of year to be in Hampton.
Like, you know, for me, I'm a competitor. I want the Hampton Middle School Elementary to be number one in Henry County completely. That's me, I love to compete. So I know my principal will be the number one, and my elementary teacher will be number one as well. So, thank you very much.
Excellent. Thank you for having us and excuse us for those of that. Yeah.
Thank you,
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem, Council, when I first reviewed our city citizens in Hampton Council, that we had covered, realized that there were 22 bank accounts. I did that during the budgetary process. So as I highlighted what the issues were, potential pitfalls, I felt it incumbent to, based on the discussions and revelation that I made before you publicly and to the citizens, that we come up with a plan to fix it. Okay, the problem evolved over the course of many years. It was typical for cities of this size to book that didn't have certified accountants working for them on a daily basis to establish individual accounts and because it was easier to separate them. That was it was easier to keep those funds separate. And that's how the city evolved over the course of God knows how many years. We had our, those 22 accounts are basically housed in 3 different banking institutions. And so we went through that whole process. Some folks have sought to politicize that issue. That was never the intent by me or my staff. We simply stated what the facts were. Okay. That's what they were, and here's the plan going forward to fix it. And when I asked Mr. Wall, our financial advisor, to come forward and I want to, as he does, I want to highlight that this has been what you will see now is a work product of our new finance director, Mr. Michael Forsythe, who has worked diligently, worked with the banking institutions, has done a deep dive in a very short period of time to help figure out in consultation with Mr. Wall, once we collapse these accounts, the idea is to get down from 22 accounts to a much more manageable number, and also be able to cut down, increase efficiency, and to cut down on some of our banking costs. You also asked us to evaluate a better use of how we invest our money. You know, instead of we had them in CDs that were bearing virtually no interest, and so we don't need to get started on this. They're going to go through it, but you've asked us to look at what future earnings and interest as more appropriate through the use of a more appropriate monetary vehicle other than a fee. So we have done that, and then so I'm going to ask Mr. Wall to come forward, but this is really the work of the team, primarily Mr. Forsythe, who worked with the banks, and also give us ideas and make recommendations on how much money we need to put in various accounts. So without further ado, Mr. Wall, you come forward and take us through the presentation, and then we'll be available to answer any questions.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, council. How y'all doing? Could we go to the first slide? I want to start off, I've been doing this 35 years, and you all have managed to create this incredible reserve. You all have got a reserve equal to more than your annual budget, so if anything happens like a recession, you've got a reserve there to fall back on. I represent cities and counties all over the state,
sometimes their reserve is less than 1 month, or 1 month, 2 months. You have a reserve for nearly 20 months of your expenses, nearly 2 years. And, you all have done a phenomenal good job, and you've been conservative with your money. You've been very conservative. And so, our job is to try to figure out ways in which we can help you earn more money and, not screw up what y'all have done. And so, many, governments have just one account. They call it a pool cash account. All the money goes in that one account. Think about what you all have done. I think you're only on your second city manager. You're only on your second finance director. So you're able to do it just with y'all and the city clerk for all these years. So you now have staff that can help you keep track of all the money that's coming in, all the utility bills, all things that are coming in. And think about what you all have done without having a property tax. That's pretty phenomenal to me. There's no property tax at all. So what we thought about doing is creating one account for each one of your funds. Y'all heard when we did the budget, you got a general fund, utility fund, SPLOST fund, capital projects fund. And you know, under governmental accounting, like Coca-Cola got one checking account. The rest of us got one checking account. But governments are created by funds, and each fund is supposed to stand on its own, and money from one fund is not to be commingled with another fund. And so, we thought we would walk before we crawl, and have each fund have its own checking account. So, you have 7 primary funds, is it 6 or 7? Six primary funds, and so we wanted a checking account for each one. We, are going to wind up recommending to you 9 checking accounts, because within each fund, there has to be some money that needs to be segregated. So let's go down the list here. You would go back to this, I won't go through that. The benefits of collapsing the accounts, the simplification of the cash reconciliation process, lessening of the preparation time to record everything in the general ledger. You only have these few accounts instead of 22 accounts. It allows for tighter controls over the cash collection, because you're able to manage it and find where the money is much easier if you have a query. Consolidation of accounts will lead to better returns on short-term investments. You know, I go to the bank and say, I got $1,000, what you gonna pay me? If I go to the bank and say, I got $1 million, well, they gonna give me a cup of coffee and take care of me. And so you'll get a better interest rate if you're able to consolidate and get a higher amount per fund. And the last one's improve rates on future large accounts versus very small accounts. Go to the next slide, please. So the general fund had 15 accounts. You can see them all: operating, payroll, LMIG, which is state money, cash soil erosion, police impact fees, cash police confiscation, parks and rec impact fees, Main Street, municipal court fines, service upgrade, infrastructure reserve, infrastructure upgrade, money market, CDs, and a CD. Turn to the next slide. We want to do just 3 accounts. An operating account, where all the bills and stuff go in there, pay all the expenses out of the operating account. We have payroll, where you dump all the money in the payroll, and the payroll check, you know, has a checking account. If that account's 0 in between payroll, nobody can rob any money from you by manipulating the check. So you only deposit money into your payroll account each time you do payroll. And then cash police confiscation, for some reason or other, the police just want that separate. Chief Austin here. Don't you want that separate? And so, anyhow, you don't have to fool nobody tote a gun, he got it. Next slide. Proprietary fund, that's all your electricity, water and sewer. So you can see you had sewer impact fees, water impact fees, electric tap fees, and sewer debt relief. Rather than keep all that separate, and they're spent separately, but we'll keep them in 2 accounts, sewer impact fees and sewer debt relief. Remember that sewer debt relief in there was collections years and years ago. We're using that to eliminate that sewer surcharge on the water and sewer bills. Next slide. Motel tax fund, no change. You know, the state law is real squirrely about that, so we actually keep that a complete separate account. Next slide. SPLOST fund. So the county sends us a SPLOST check at Regions Bank, and it's immediately gone through that bank and come down here to us. So they call that a clearinghouse account, because that's where the county keeps all of its SPLOST money. And the county collects the SPLOST and distributes to the city. As soon as it hits that account, they send it to us, and then we'll have a SPLOST account here. Next slide. Capital project fund. Current is no accounts at all, capital project fund. We want to create a capital project grant fund. And the grant funds, you know, we talked about it during the budget, GDOT money, there's something for parks and trails that you got, that I don't know the acronym, what it stands for, but it's LWCE, I don't probably know what that means. But create a capital project grant fund account. Next slide. We have a separate one called a capital improvement project fund, and that's where we budgeted all the water sewer impact fees and all those sort of things. We'll establish a bank account for it. And monies that go from various funding sources to the capital project fund. If you remember, you all used to make capital projects from general fund, from the utility fund. We streamlined that during the budget process, and all your capital projects are coming out of just 3 funds: SPLOST, this fund, and this fund. And so we create checking accounts for each one of those and keep them separate. Next slide. So investing. Reasons to re-engineer and restructure investments. You know, we talked about you had 2 CDs in the general fund, but by and large, most of the money was not earning any interest. You have $8.4 million in reserves and $3-some-odd million in SPLOST funds. And we want to do a prudent use of government excess operating funds. So the things that you need for next week's payroll, we probably leave it uninvested. But some of the things that your reserves that you won't spend, you can invest them out a longer period of time. We increase the city's revenue, resulting increase from fund balance and net position city. And we have more funds available for city activities, we earn interest. Next slide. We want you to use Georgia Fund 1. Most of the governments that I represent send their money up to create an account at the state of Georgia Department of Treasury. It's called Georgia Fund 1, and it's a money market account. You know, money market accounts, they've always guaranteed a net asset value of $1. They're only invested in U.S. government treasuries or agencies guaranteed by the U.S. government, and the maturity of those are never greater than 90 days. And the state of Georgia has a Department of Treasury that manages that and only charges 2 basis points to do it. And so, gosh, all of my clients all over the state use it as a money market account. Fidelity, Vanguard, Nuveen, Oppenheimer, SunTrust, all of their money market accounts earn less money than these cats do because they charge a higher rate, a higher fee to invest it. And the state only charges 2 basis points. So in 2019, the rate has been as high as 2.3%, right there. But it's been coming down. Trump's been really rough on the Federal Reserve and keep lowering interest rates. And they lowered it 3 times this year. And when they lower the rates, it doesn't necessarily affect the long-term rates like a mortgage, but it does affect the short-term rates. Now, a money market account, if you want your money tomorrow, you just let them know by 2 o'clock today and you get it. A CD is much more complicated. It has a maturity date a long time in advance, and if you want your money early, you have to pay a penalty to get out of it. So a money market account is a great way for you to earn interest and not worry about can you put your hands on your money and will you pay a penalty to get out of it. A money market account, anytime you want it, you gotta let them know by 2 o'clock today to get it tomorrow. And Georgia Fund 1 is the fund we wanted to recommend. Turn to the next page. You got $8.4 million investment, not counting SPLOST. We decided to use a conservative number of 1.5%. So it started out at 2.2% in September. I think it dropped to around 2.1 in October. I think it's around 2% now. It could keep declining, so we decided to be conservative and do 1.5%. And that's $150,000 interest earnings over the next 5 years. $750,000 over the next 5 years. That you all haven't spent that money in the past. You've been very conservative with it. You've got plenty of money flowing in for capital. The SPLOST just recently passed. You'll have plenty of money of that. So I'm assuming you're not going to spend a whole lot of that. So it'll be an extra $750,000 for your citizens that you didn't have before. Next page. That's it. Any questions?
I do have a question.
Yes, sir.
So we currently have 2 CDs and 1 money market account.
Yes.
The 2 CDs that we have, what is the maturity date on them?
One's next March and one next September. Both of them are earning about 0.4%.
And we're going to transition them at this time in regards to, or are we going to do it now? Are we gonna remove it now, pay the penalty
So,
For early withdrawal?
did you go down and talk to the bank? Did they tell you there's a penalty for early withdrawal?
Yes, they did.
So we'll have to wait and transfer that money, one of them in March and one of them in September.
Can you tell me the total on the two CDs?
Yes, ma'am. You remember?
It's close to 2 million. One is like
2 million.
473, and one's like, about 1.4, close to 2 million, adding the two together.
One's 700,000, one's $1,000,000.
Yeah.
Earning no interest.
Well, no, that amount is earning 0.4%. The projections in this longest report, I put in front of you, is it projecting very conservatively 1.5. So what you see is 150,000 potential earnings annually. That's if it was in for 12 months. Our plan would be not to pay the penalty and let it mature and then transfer the first CD that matures early in spring, okay? And then when the other one becomes available, go ahead and put it in there. You know, as long as there's, you know, what we're laying out for you tonight is the plan. Now, there's a couple other things I want to address with you.
I need to ask one more question. The 8.4 million in reserve. We've accumulated this 8.4 million, but we haven't did any projects. So I'm thinking about the presentation that we had done earlier this year in regards to roads and streets and, water and all this kind of wonderful stuff. So you're looking at 8.4 million, but we haven't made any type of an investment. That's the reason we've been able to accumulate that amount of money. So are we going to use some of this money? Are we keeping some of it out to use some of it to actually do something with, do some projects with?
Yeah, so we have SPOS funds that we're going to we're going to burn off some of that. This stuff will stay there for a longer term. The goal is to get it to earn interest immediately. So this is unrestricted. This is not CD money. So this is what we would want to do is start earning money or interest immediately. And some of the projects that you're talking about, they'll be 18 months, 2 years from start to finish, you know, some of the road paving projects. But we'll have that SPOS money available, plus we're going to have, this did not contemplate new SPOS funds that will be coming in March or April of next year. This is just a snapshot of where we are right now. So, if you can just kind of go back to the slides, I want to point out a few things in there, and with just for point of emphasis, we have the accounts. I want to keep everybody's mind focused on the fact that we have 22 accounts, but 3 institutions. Only one of them is a sweep account. The other 2, I think we have 15 at one bank and the rest at the other, something like that. We go to the little houses. You see at the top, you'll see each, when you see the initials, F and B, that's where those are at, and then you see the others that are Fidelity. Those are the 2. Mr. Turner, I believe, and a couple other members brought up in our budget process, we talked about consolidating everything at one banking institution, getting banking institutions to bid for our business. And that's our recommendation, that we collapse. As you go to the next slides, you can see now it changed. The acronym is to be determined, because we're not suggesting, we want you to agree to the plans, see what we're doing, collapsing, but we haven't made a determination as to what institution we're going to be. That'll be the second part. We want to get banks to bid, then we want to bring a recommendation to you, which bank do we want to move all our money to, okay? So, and then, you know, it may end up being FNB, it may end up being Fidelity, but we want to start making the move now so we can start earning in, first of all, collapsing and gain more efficiency. That's the first goal, get that done as soon as possible. But this presentation tonight was mainly to get buy-in on structure. Any other questions?
you need them to approve a resolution approving the use of the Georgia Fund One.
We can bring that resolution at your December meeting, okay? Well, you can expect that to be on the agenda, since we seem to have consensus on this, structure. Right?
Okay, if I like, consider action on adopting resolution 1918, procuring professional service clear water solution to have city water system monitored and tested by Class 3 Environmental Protection Department.
Yes, you have a resolution in front of you to engage in professional services. This came to us because we have received notification from EPD that we have certain licensing agreements that are licensing requirements that have not been met. I was made aware of this on October 29, and was told that I had a deadline of October 31st to for us to come into compliance. Our staff presently doesn't have the licensing required by EPD. This is a result of a December 2018 inspection that took place way before I got here. So we have contracted with Clearwater Solutions to be able to provide a Class 3 operator for operating systems. This is a requirement by EPD because we don't just solely redistribute Henry County water. We provide well water to augment that. So the agreement that I bring before you and asking for you to pass this evening is to use the professional services at 6 hours a week at $85 an hour to make sure that all the testing is done properly and the reports are done properly, and those reports are submitted to EPD timely, accurately, and that we are following all the EPD requirements. I would have been happier if I'd had more heads up, but it is what it is, and we're able to have a plan in place. EPD, we've been in communication with them. They've approved this arrangement. If we have to go more than that, the contractor has to get my approval to exceed 6 hours a week. There are quite a few things that we have to clean up from that December 2018 inspection and evaluation, and we're working on doing that. So we're looking for improvements. The gentleman that has been provided by this company has already been working with staff and will evaluate, and I've spoken to him, but I want him to evaluate our staff, their performance, past record keeping, all things administrative. So I think this is a good solution and a way to move us more into the modern age. So I ask for your support and that you pass this resolution so we can engage these services so I can have a more permanent solution for you.
Okay. I'll call for a motion for approving consideration action adopting resolution 1918, procuring professional service for clear water solution as the city water system monitored and tested by Class 3 Environmental Protection Department.
I make a motion that we approve resolution 1918 for clear water solution at a rate of $85 per hour at 6 hours a week with the approval of the city manager as needed more.
I'll second that motion.
Any discussion?
Yes. So this is dealing with water and water quality, but is this also part of testing our wastewater as it leaks into the stream?
No, that's separate. You have yes, sir. I believe in 2017, this council engaged the services of GMC to provide an annual watershed protection plan, and that's what That's what that contract, encompasses, so this is totally separate. Sewage input, output, is the different.
All in favor? 5-0.
Thank you.
Okay, and next one is consider action ordinance 497, first reading regarding speed detection listed on the road.
Mayor Pro Tem, if it's okay, I'm gonna stay here while I go through some slides, is that all right?
Sure, fine.
All right. This is brought about because of, months ago, I recommended to the state to change the speed limit signs to lower some speeds where we can use speed detection on roads. The process is, I make a recommendation to state DOT, they come out, survey the roads, look at them, they say yes or no. We recently got back the results, which they approved 3, changes to our speed detection license. They're all in residential areas. We recommended Caldwell Drive come from a 30-mile-an-hour to a 25-mile-an-hour zone. Revolutionary Drive from a 30 to a 25. West Main Street from Woolsey Road to Oak Street, they would not change. They didn't agree to change it. Oak Street is still West Main Street, Oak Street. To North Caldwell Drive, they did decrease from 30 to a 25. And north of Caldwell Drive to the north city limits, they went from a 40 to a 35. The only way that you can contest any of this is the city would have to provide a engineer who goes out and does a speed survey. So we're kind of limited on what we can do on some roads. Basically, what the gentleman from the state told me is, if it's a school zone or it is a neighborhood, they will do it. We tried McDonough Street, we tried Lower Woolsey Road, and the state just does not look at those roads as neighborhoods. So the process now, for us to be able to go out and change speed limit signs and enforce the 25s in these zones, the city council has to pass this by way of ordinance, and I send that ordinance signed by the council and mayor back to the state DOT, and they'll update our radar lights. So that's what I'm requesting the council to do. I've also had a copy here of our current, this is the license with the changes, which goes through all the roads. This first slide here is the state roads, which they control. And then the second slide goes through all these different streets in the city that we do have a license to run speed detection. You have any questions about that? No, it's a lot in a short time.
We have a question, but we gotta go to the motion first.
Okay.
I'll call for a motion for consideration of action on ordinance 497, first reading, regarding speed detection listed for roadways.
Mayor Pro Tem, I make a motion that we approve ordinance 497 for the first read regarding speed detection list of roadways.
For a second,
I'll second.
any discussion?
Go ahead.
I just want to ask, now tell me the one that they didn't approve, tell me the street.
McDonough Street. We tried to do this little section kind of here between the police station up in the curve, and they would not approve that, and we tried to lower Woolsey Road.
And something between Oak and College, or?
We go back that's West Main Street between, kind of behind the kangaroo in front of the Methodist Church, that little stretch they would not change. Try to get it from a 30 to a 25. And keep in mind, the council can change any street to whatever you like, but we have to, if we wanna operate speed detection, it has to go by through the state.
So
If you
what
change
you
one-
saying, we could change it to 25?
You could change it.
But you can't write no ticket.
Not using radar. You have to use other radar or laser when it comes to speed detection. We would be limited.
Where you can't enforce
It would be very tough to enforce. You have to, really the only help then would be pacing with patrol cars, and that's, most people when we're behind them don't speed. Every once in a while they do.
Yeah, I had one question. I know, Bridgeport subdivision was talking about requesting, speed humps, because they have some issues in there. Were any of those, streets considered for, I know, Winford Ridge and Creekside Circle?
I did not request those, but if that's, we were basing most of these off complaints. I know you're right, we have had some complaints in there. When these annexations are complete, we'll have to address this again to add those streets, so that's something that we could add and have requested, so. And when they come out and do the surveys, a lot of it has to do with visibility and length of streets, if they're not real curvy. And basically what they're doing, they're holding these the city and the officers accountable by what roads we should use radar and what roads we shouldn't. But that is something we could definitely address probably in the next few months.
Okay, for West Main Street, a couple months ago, I put on a meeting regarding the, either change West Main Street to two-way or one-way. However, the citizen decided whether one-way. Correct. When those things implement, can we go back to get the speed limit change? And that, because right now, so no change based on a two-way at the time.
Right. And just keep in mind, if we go back on a one-way street, the lowest they'll go with radar is 25. So there's no going lower. We may be shooting ourselves in the foot if we bring that back. They may take it away from us because it is one-way. But sometimes you gotta be careful what you ask for.
Okay, thank you. All in favor? 5-0.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Consider action on adopting ordinance 498, first reading, amending the charter to administration article 2, city council division, in general section, 2-45, order of business. I made a motion to adopt the ordinance 498.
I'll second for purpose of discussion.
Any discussion?
I'd like to make an amendment to the motion, on number 6, where it says public comments, agenda items, that be changed to general, just general items, and take number 11, which states, public comments, for general, which is at the end of the meeting, and move that to 6, and also put the, where you're letting the public speak on each individual agenda item as it comes up on the agenda.
For a second?
I have a concern.
Wait a minute, for a second first. You make a motion on the floor.
Oh, you made it. On that motion. I'll second it for discussion. That's fine. So, the concern I have is, and I'm fine with changing it, but you have new members coming on board, and I wanna know if you all or anyone up here has gotten any input from those new members that are gonna be sworn in on the first of the year as to how they want this to go. Cause I don't wanna put any more burden or any other burden on them, they have to change something to take it not to their liking. So I guess my question is, have you gotten input from the newly elected council members as to how this is gonna impact them? Okay, okay.
I don't know, but we gotta be mindful. It is not about the council, it's about the people who we serve. So, we have to give more voice to the citizens, to speak on issues. So, if we talk about council, then we're taking away the responsibility of the citizens.
Mayor Pro Tem, Councilman Byrd, I hate to interject, but I wanted to offer this, since Councilmember Byrd has, made an amendment to change the order. This came up in the discussion, and then, Ms. Bodie, also had a recommendation. I think consent agenda listed as number 8 for old business would be better listed. Consent agendas always have to do with new business. So I think, I'm just suggesting, I'm not saying take it out, I'm saying it just needs to be ordered differently. That consent agenda is always about new business, so it shouldn't be on the list before, old business. It should be the very first thing that you have, under new business. And then Ms. Bodie also had made a recommendation, you may wanna discuss that.
I'm not sure how to add this, since we already have an amendment, but we had added positive happenings on, and originally it was just falling at the end of new business every time, but it's been placed, normally it's put in like it goes here in the order of business, but I would like to get that officially added in before changing the
ordinance now.
That's a big
So
part.
because we've got a motion and a second, we're gonna have to vote on Mr. Byrd. On Mr. Byrd's amendment to add that back to the original motion and second. And then you can go and add the positive happenings as an amendment thereafter. You see what I mean?
Can you make a motion again?
I wanna make a motion that we put on number 6, where it says public comments, agenda items, instead of it saying agenda items for public comment, it be general items. In other words, just whatever somebody wants to come up and make a public comment about, and the actual agenda items be put where they can speak on the agenda items as they come up to be talked about during the meeting.
Before each, like it used to be, before each vote, okay.
Before each item.
So then you would be taking off number 11?
Yes.
Okay.
All in favor? Call for a motion, all in favor? All opposed? It died.
I missed the vote, I am so
Vote
sorry.
is on.
It's time.
Who was in favor?
23.
The amendment just,
Amendment.
the amendment is what failed.
Amendment failed.
Okay, let me ask something. The amendment what Mr. Byrd is putting on now, it's gonna be changed to this amendment that he's doing now. So why not just do it now and get it over? Then you won't have to change it when the new council come in, because this is what he wants to put it in, it's gonna be the same thing.
But, we're not, what I'm saying is we keep focusing on new council and councilors. It is not about the council, it's about the citizens. We get to remind that. It's not about the council, it's about the citizens. We must give them voice, and that's it. So, we have, 3 votes and 3.
So it's 3-3?
Yes.
Okay, so you had a tie, all right. So now the motion that's on the floor is a motion that was originally made by Ms. Hartley to approve this as it is. And I think Ms. Bodie wants to make an amendment to that motion to add positive happenings.
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to amend with the addition of adding positive happenings as a standard agenda item.
Any discussion? One more thing, Mr. Coley, you make a recommendation to change the,
I just suggest that consent agenda be put between old and new business. It shouldn't be before old business, it should be after old business and under new business.
So, attorney, since, we have a second on the floor for the amendment.
Vote on Ms. Bodie's amendment.
Okay. All in favor for, for public happening, and, as one Ms. Bodie mentioned, all in favor? 5-0.
And then Mr. Cohill, if someone wants to make a motion to move consent agenda between 9 and 10.
I make a motion for that one. Make a motion to move consent agenda between 9 and 10. Call for second.
Discussion.
Any discussion? All in favor? 5-0.
All right, now let's vote on the original motion to include these 2 amendments, positive happenings, and moving consent agenda to ordinance number 498.
I make a motion for ordinance 490.
Yes, so we've now approved the amendments, now you need to vote on the original motion with those 2 amendments.
Okay, that's, after, motion, a vote on the floor, would include 2 amendments, public happening, and also included consent agenda to move to between old business and new business. All in favor?
Yeah, it was seconded.
6-0.
that's just the first read, so we'll have to come back.
Okay. Okay, consider action adopting ordinance 499, first reading, amending charter 2, administration articles, city council. This is on, general section -235, regular meeting, subsection. This item on the one way, so, I make a motion to consider action adopting ordinance 499, first reading, amending charter,
Not the charter,
charter 2.
and chapter 2.
Oh, chapter 2, okay, sorry, that. I mentioned article city council, division 1, generally section -2-35, regular meeting, subsection.
I'll second it for the purpose of discussion.
Second on the floor, any discussion?
I just had a question in regards to, on this, it says, not to exceed 45 minutes for the first public comment portion of the meeting. So, do we need to put that as, what we just, or not yet, because it's not approved? In regards to public comment, agenda items.
So, it did pass.
Yeah, it says just like that.
And so, it would make sense at your second read to do ordinance number 499 first, because if it does not pass, then you're gonna have to change 498, because you won't have, you see what I mean, you won't have the
I got it.
45-minute agenda item issue. And so, because it did pass tonight, I mean, however you vote on this will determine what will happen with 498.
The second, any more discussion? All in favor? So it's 5-0?
How many was it?
5.
Did you vote?
Yes.
It's 6. It's been 6.
You following the order? Okay, excess property listed by Hampton Police Department. Please,
Yes, sir. These are just some items we have at the police department, including some vehicles that we're trying to deem as excess, so we can get rid of them to get them out of our storage room. And, we have some replacement vehicles on the way that we're purchasing with Squash. So, basically have a list here, we have some computers that are laptops that were original laptops we purchased for the patrol cars, who have just, over time, became non-serviceable. You can see that some of them have some errors, some fans problems. We have a old desktop printer that we need to get rid of, and then we have the vehicles that we need to get rid of, so. This is just a list with all their information, so.
So, I have just one question about this. Does this have to come back to the council? Because this is like, we done did this a couple of times with different things. Is this not an administrative decision if something is in surplus that we need to, or do we have to do a resolution or anything to actually get him to be able to?
How it's been done and, how it should be done is that you guys determine what city property is surplus and give him authority to dispose of it in accordance with policy. And so that may be selling it on one of those government websites, it may be, we've given property to other jurisdictions if the value is so low, but you have to determine it surplus, so that is a council vote, and give him the authority, or whatever department is coming from, right? Give that person the authority to surplus that property, once you deem it, not usable as city property.
Okay.
any more, I call for a motion to,
It's not on your agenda as a action item, and so.
Ms. Hampton?
It's almost, it appears as it was just going to be a presentation, but if you need some action on it, then I would recommend that I don't know how this impacts you, Chief, but it needed to be on here as an action item if you want them to do this stuff. Is that what you want?
Yes,
Is that what you want?
So we need to bring it back.
Yeah, bring it back.
Yeah. Let's do that.
I'm confused on this, because does it have to be done in a resolution, is what you're saying?
That's not what it says. Yes.
It has to be
Yes.
done in a resolution,
Yes.
okay.
You need action on it.
Okay, that's what I was.
Wait 1 month's not gonna change anything.
Okay.
This isn't holding you up from doing your business, right?
No, none of this is holding us up.
So, I, leave it to city manager, to get in touch with, for resolution for, so, let's go to the next topic, thank you, Chief.
Yes, sir.
Introduction for new IT manager, scheduled to begin on November 18, 2009.
Yes, in the budget that you just approved, you approved a non-department head level, position, that's for IT manager. We posted that position, this position answers to the city manager, and we talked about being able to get off the professional services contract with Liberty Technology. We made that case during the budget, you approved it. It's my pleasure to just introduce to you my selection for our first IT manager. Hopefully you'll be with us a very long time, Mr. Reginald Brown. He has an associate degree in computer networking technology. He has a bachelor's degree in computer information systems, and he has a master's degree in project management. He's ex-military. He has served as a director of information technology. I have his resume available for you. And most of all, most importantly, which was the ultimate win-win as far as I was concerned, he's a resident of Hampton, Georgia. So I'd like to bring him forward.
Hello, everyone. I'm glad to be here. Glad to be able to work in the community that I work in. Been doing IT for more than 20 years, managing IT for about 15. I consider this a great pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to have you on board for first IT, which I'm so happy. There's a different discussion, and I hope you be here for a very long time.
Well, I intend to.
I got a question, where do you live in Hampton?
I actually live right around the corner, right on Marcoma Road, right off of Marcoma Road. Yeah. Yes, very close. Very close.
Hampton area, I try.
Anyone say anything? Once we have at the council, we are, think it should be choose Hampton as part of your place of work.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Positive things happening. I'll move from my right.
I just wanted to thank, I'm not sure who did the work, but the downtown area where they put all the decorations and stuff out looked really good this year. Whoever was involved in that, I'd like to say thank you.
That would be Miss Wanda Moore, and she headed it up at our community development department, and she didn't realize she had such a flair for art. She did a great job.
Well, that's what I was gonna say for Ms. Moore. The flowers you put out there, that's a big improvement, I like that. Makes it look wetland coming in the over. Thank you.
So, I'm just excited and elated regarding the youth council. I am happy to see so many people deciding that they wanted to be a part. Ms. Bodie has been a pleasure, this year to work with in regards to the youth council, and she actively recruited our last 2 members, and we were at 5 at about the 15th of October, and we were trying to get it at full capacity. So I am just excited for what's coming up for the youth council.
Mine, I wish I'd said when when the school was here, but Hampton Elementary has a program coming in that their kids have led up, and they have contacted Atlanta Food Bank, and the 200 families at Hampton Elementary will be able to start coming through, next week, and they will be able to go down the line, get fresh food to take home. They're gonna ask to come see us, I believe, in December or January's meeting, and they hope by mid-January to open it up to the community of Hampton, where they'll be able to go in and get just tons of, fresh food. And many people know him, but Steve Nail with Nail Heat and Air has really, he stepped up, he got all these people in the community to donate tables so they could do this project. I'm just so thankful for him and just all of his work to come together to make sure the kids get food and they will learn a lot better too.
I don't see the other newly elected council members, but I wanted to tell them personally congratulations for their victory in the election, and just to welcome them aboard and hope the best for the future.
Something I forgot. I'm very proud of what's happening with the school system. They have made tremendous improvements. And that's where it starts at.
I want to, I'm not gonna call names, but, it was a pleasure for me, on Monday to speak for the Veterans Day, and the person who put the flag out, they extended it very far now, it's really beautiful, and I get a lot of compliments. I didn't do it myself, you know, I just take praise, but not really, but, I told them, these people done it for every year, and I want to say thanks for recognizing veterans, and the people each year do a good job. Okay, do we need any executive session?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, can I make a very quick announcement? Just, I know it's out of order, but it's for, the Christmas parade. Can I do that?
Oh, fine.
Thank you. Everybody, on December 14th at 7 p.m. right here on Main Street, we're gonna have our annual Christmas parade. We wanna invite everyone to come. We're gonna have parades, bands, all kinds of different entities, lots of floats. All of our EMS services will be there. It's a very well-attended event. It's usually our biggest event of the year. Bring your family, it'll be fun. It starts promptly at 7 p.m. December 14th. We hope you all come. Oh, and we'll have snow machines, so I can guarantee it'll snow that night. So, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Well, thank you very much for the,
I'm not sure, I'm not